Welcome to the Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines protecting patient safety and delivering patient care. I'm Ed Gaudet, the host, and today I am pleased to be joined by Julian Wilkison Duran. Julian, welcome, sir.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. Let's start off with sharing a little bit about your background, what you're currently doing, a little bit about your company with our listeners.
Yeah, so a little bit about my background is I started out in clinical lab science. So I went to school at Duran and I got a clinical lab science degree, and I worked in hospital laboratories for 5 or 6 years. So I got a lot of experience doing that. And then I noticed some trouble in the laboratory, and the ability to move up in the laboratory is very difficult. And I kind of had a passion for software. And so I kind of went back to that and did consulting for big financial companies. But then I realized that it doesn't matter what company you're at, they all have similar problems with, data and staffing and all that. And so I found myself with similar problems no matter where I went. And so I decided to try to solve some of those problems. And I started my own company a couple of months ago called Astermind. And so now we've been set out using our technology that's biology based, solving some of the hardest problems that businesses have these days.
Cool. Where did you come up with the name? What's the name mean?
Yeah. So the way I came up with the name is that our AI is actually based on a biological starfish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of playing around with the word star and kind of landed on Aster. And then it kind of sounds like mastermind. So
nice.
Yeah.
I love that. How did you get into tech? How did you get into software?
Yeah, I started pretty young. I was the generation that kind of grew up with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up, being a 10-year-old, everybody wanted their own website. And, back then it was GeoCities. And so, learning HTML and setting up my own website like that, I kind of just grew up with it and then realized I had a knack for it and just continued to learn on my own as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And the hobbies started turning into like a career path that I could choose or not choose. And somewhere around high school, I got my first like professional gig making websites for like a real estate company.
Nice.
And yes, and it went really well. And then the economy went south, and I was just like, let's find something else to do. And that's kind of where I landed in healthcare, starting out as a caregiver. I started out from the very bottom when it comes to healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Started out as a caregiver. One of the nurses kind of mentored me, and she's like, yeah, I kind of have a knack for this. And I was just like, all right. So I got an associate's degree and did medical assistant work over at an urgent care for
Nice.
years. And then kind of made friends with a few of the doctors there. And I ended up running the laboratory for the urgent care. Very small little laboratory. I had a microscope and a urinalysis machine. That's about it. Oh, and it had a CBC, old culture counter.
Oh, wow.
And so he showed me how to use that. And he's like, if you really like this stuff, this is actually a career path that you could go down. And so he kind of mentored me. And at the time, there was very few college programs to do that kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
And DeVry just barely opened up their program. And so I was like one of the first cohorts to graduate doing it.
Yeah. And are you staying in the medical area, the medical industry with your new company?
We're leaning towards that way. And the reason I say that is because my wife still works in the laboratory, and that's where I met her. And problems that they've had 10 years ago are still present.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding more and more that the technology that I'm creating can actually help the laboratorian in many ways. So one of the problems that laboratorians have is they've become these, not only do they need a vast amount of knowledge in chemistry and biology and hematology and all this other stuff, but they've all of a sudden become glorified mechanics with all this automation.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a machine breaks, you're stuck fixing that machine. And then you have doctors calling you minute by minute asking, where's my results? Where's my results? My machine's down, so I can't give you results until I fix it. But that doesn't stop them from calling you. And then the other problems that you run into is like, you have these critical results to give to a nurse. There's no digital way of saying, here's my critical results, nurse, and the nurse verifies it digitally. It's a very manual process of calling on the phone to the floor and saying, hey, nurse so-and-so, somebody's troponin is a high level, so they're probably having a heart attack. All right. You still have to document that manually and put it into the computer and all that. But, in the reality, the nurse probably already had that information because the patient's having a heart attack. So there has to be some way to have real-time communication between the floor and the laboratory. For one, the doctors and nurses should already know when a machine goes down. That should be an automated thing of letting everybody in the ER and the hospital know, hey, the heart of the hospital is down. Nobody's going to be able to do much until this machine gets fixed. So that's one thing. And then being able to resolve critical results in a timely manner also affects patient care.
So those are the two problems you're helping are going to approach organizations, helping them with. Okay.
Two of the bigger problems. And then there's other automation problems. Like say, well, this has happened quite a few times with mislabeled specimens. How do you figure out that it is a mislabeled specimen without having to run it on the machine and getting weird results? And how do you prevent that from happening to begin with? There is various methods that they use these days with 2 barcode scans and whatnot, but stuff still slips through the cracks and it's very dangerous. The other problems that you have in the laboratory is some of the work that we do in the laboratory has to be highly focused. And so one of those areas is in blood banking. And so you're in blood banking, you're in direct charge of someone's life. They need life-saving blood right away. And sometimes you can't give it to them right away because they have what's called an antibody. And so if they have an antibody, you have to actually do a lot of workup, they call it, to figure out what that antibody is before you can give them the blood, because you have to give them blood without that antibody or they'll die anyway. So it's a huge responsibility. And let's say that isn't your only responsibility. You're not just doing blood banking. You're also in hematology, resulting CBCs and doing cell counts. And that machine goes down in chemistry. How much attention are you actually paying to being able to work up that antibody? And generally the solution is to have more laboratorians in the lab, but that doesn't happen. There's a staff shortage, just like everywhere else in the hospital.
Right.
People won't show up for work, or people will quit because there's low pay. There's, extreme stress, doctors and nurses yelling at you 24/7. Not a whole lot of people want to do this job. And people that do it, they have a real passion for it. And you have to. Otherwise, you would just quit the next day.
No, I think that exists throughout healthcare, right? There's so many jobs and so many roles. If you don't have that passion for healthcare, what you're doing, and really take that mission, which is shared, right, with everybody in the ecosystem, which is really cool. Outside of healthcare, you don't really see that. Without that, it's really hard to obviously weather those ups and downs that we deal with every day. So you're an entrepreneur, your first company. Is this your first company?
This is my first company.
Wow, that's exciting. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. What what are some of your challenges? What are you looking at over the next couple of years from an entrepreneur's perspective?
A lot of it is normal startup growth things of trying to find people that can help me do this work. And then a lot of it is getting people to understand something that's completely different and thinking outside the box. Because while we are an AI company, our AI is not like everybody else's. And you can't just say that with a grain of salt and expect people to understand. And so trying to explain that to people that our AI is closer to biology than an LLM would be. And what are the benefits of that?
And risks.
And risks, yeah. Well, you get less hallucination and whatnot. There's the risk of, it's autonomy and, it's a thinking thing now. So what it thinks and what you think might not jive. But again, it's built-in constraints too and auditability that we have that other just doesn't have. Because we can specifically say, this is the thought process that our AI did. Whereas modern AI these days, it's a black box. You can't really do that.
That's right. Yeah. And how are you building it? Are you building it in Claude, or are you building it in OpenAI, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. The specific programming language I'm using is JavaScript. And the reason I chose JavaScript is because I wanted to make this AI as accessible as possible to everybody. One of the problems with AI these days is it's inaccessible. Even if I wanted to build my own model, a lot of the stuff to be able to do that is proprietary and you need to have vast amounts of knowledge in order to get there. But what I wanted to do is abstract that away, make it so that you don't need big data to do AI, and you don't need big processors either. Our AI runs on a laptop, on a consumer grade laptop, and I did it in such a way that anybody could build their own model on whatever they want to do. So very domain specific, instead of having the world's knowledge in a brain, only having the knowledge that you actually need at the given moment.
So a domain specific language model versus a large language model that anyone.
Correct. Yeah.
Really, really good. Smart. What are some of the challenges you're finding that you hadn't considered prior to becoming an entrepreneur? What are some of the things you're running into going, oh, wow, I didn't even think about this or realize this was going to be an issue?
A few of the things are expecting people to understand what I know.
It's a problem.
And so when I first went out there, right, I was like, look at this starfish that I made. And people are like, what? Starfish? What are you talking about?
That's great. Yeah.
And so
aligning your vision with the reality of what they see is
right.
So hard. Yeah.
So instead of talking about what it is, talking about what it actually does and what it can do for them.
Yeah.
That's one reality check for me. And then something else is letting everybody kind of catch up to where I am. And this isn't an arrogance thing by any means.
No, I understand completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff that I talk about, you've only seen in movies, really. And so that's kind of the reference. And some of that reference isn't true either, right? It doesn't work exactly like how it does on TV, but it certainly looks that way. And so kind of managing expectations. And then the other thing is, I just told this to my business partner, is when you show somebody something extraordinary, the initial response is, oh, wow, look at what you can do. And then the next response is, what else can it do? And so managing that as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a million things that this can solve. And so choosing the ones that matter to me matters.
Wow, you're already wise at 3 months. You said 3 months?
Yeah.
3 months into it. Yeah, most people never get to the point where they understand those points. So that's actually really good. Now you said you said your wife works in the
still works in the laboratory.
Yeah. What does she think about
she's excited.
Your new journey?
She's like, the stuff that you're making, I needed yesterday, and quite literally yesterday.
That's great. Yeah. You already have it. You're living with a customer.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. So, when you think about, your career, I'm going to go back and probe on a couple questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What's some of the biggest mistake you've made so far and biggest learning you've had?
As far as the company goes, or like
anything,
my career
anything.
In general?
Yeah, in general.
I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I would call it the path that I took. I might reorder it differently.
Okay.
Instead of starting out on the bottom of doing caregiving, well, I appreciated that, and it was a lot of hard work, and it made me appreciate what nursing does and things like that. I wish I could have started out just in the laboratory. I would have known that the laboratory existed and not just stumbled upon it. So that's one thing, is wishing that the laboratory was represented more as a career path, so that people like myself could skip all the rubbish and go straight to the point of, I can work in the laboratory and it's kind of fun, and it's what I like to do.
Well, that could be part of your your overall vision and mission, could be bringing awareness to that area.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've been thinking about is, excuse me, caught a little bit of a cold. you know those pizza trackers, right?
Yes.
It says your pizza's in the oven, your pizza's on the way, right? Imagine
Yes.
if a patient had something like that for their lab results, right? They can see it on their phone while they're sitting in their hospital bed. They're like, oh, the phlebotomist is going to come and draw me in 5 minutes.
I love that.
And then they go and do it. And then, oh, your blood's on the way to the machine. Your blood's on the machine running. We're about to get the results in 5 minutes, right?
That's cool.
So something like that. And that would give a clear vision to the patient of what laboratory actually does. Because if you ask a patient these days, what happens after the doctor draws your blood, or the nurse draws your blood, they're like, oh, the nurse goes and runs the test. The nurse has no clue how to do that.
Right. Someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point. If you could go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self something, what would it be?
This might sound bad and difficult, but I probably wouldn't have gone to college. I probably would have continued what I was studying on my own and maybe audited some classes that I actually cared about, and then just continued where I am now, if I'm super honest. But
No, I love that. I love that. And what classes do you feel like you had to take that you shouldn't have taken?
well, it's a great class. I think that like economics and, some of the other lower level, I don't know. I call them filler classes because, well, it's great to know general knowledge and being well-rounded.
Yeah.
It didn't apply directly to anything that I was doing, and I felt like it was a money grab.
Interesting.
And then the other thing that they started to do was like in chemistry. When my wife took chemistry, she had chemistry 1, 2, and then organic chemistry or whatever. But now what they're doing is they're splitting up these chemistry classes so that you're taking like sub classes of what you need to know. And it's just an odd way of doing it, and it's not cohesive. And so a lot of people might get left behind there. And that's usually like the washout class is organic chemistry. You're either making it or not at that point. And it would be nice to know that ahead of time than wasting 2 years of your life and then figuring out, oh, this isn't for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. I think this next generation is struggling with the cost of university and college.
Yeah.
And certainly the impact AI is going to have on the future of jobs as well. So I think it's a really interesting point that you bring up.
Yeah. In my honest opinion about AI taking over jobs, it's not going to take over jobs. And the reason I say that is because you always have to have a human in the loop. Even if you had the most advanced brain, a brain without a body is just a brain. You need people doing stuff. That's what the whole world is about. If you step away outside of your computer and look outside, who's mowing your lawn, right? Who's picking the vegetables? Who's actually doing the work to survive? It's not AI. It's people. And people still have to talk to people too. That's the other thing is, you could talk to a computer all you want and rubber duck against an AI to try to figure out a problem. But AI is not going to tell you the solution. It's going to give you ideas, but you need to talk to other people that have creativeness and solve those problems. I think what AI does is it allows you to skip all the rubbish and go straight to the creativity. All the mundane stuff goes away, and all of a sudden you can do the novel things that actually matter.
Well put. Outside of your day job, what are you most passionate about? What would you be doing if you had all the money in the world and you could do anything?
Oh, yeah. Probably it's still the same thing. Oh,
That's good.
yes.
That means you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. I've always been passionate about biology and how things work. I remember being 5 years old in my dad's shop because he's a wood shop teacher and trying to make a hand because I watched, Star Wars and I saw Luke Skywalker's hand. I'm like, I could do that. I can, that's just a couple of bolts and a string. You can pull it and the finger moves, right? So I've always been like this. It's just
a little Leonardo da Vinci in you.
Yeah.
What's the riskiest thing you've ever done? This is the Risk Never
Riskiest.
Sleeps podcast, so I have to ask you that question.
Yeah, leave my job and do this.
That's right.
Because I was making really good money and it was very secure. And,
That's right.
the
Yeah,
odds
isn't
of
it
me
great?
losing my job weren't,
Entrepreneurship.
I had a good gig. And
Yeah. Now you're an entrepreneur, though. Don't go
Yeah.
back. That's so great. Share a fun fact about you that many people don't know.
a fun fact.
Hmm.
Oh, that was a weird one. Uh,
That doesn't have to be fun. It could be.
yeah. At the age of 40, I tried skateboarding again. That was,
Oh my God. How did that turn out?
eh, I fell pretty hard and then couldn't move for a week. And
Oh,
realized this-
are you still doing it?
I got back up on the horse. I'm taking it slower, of course. But yeah, it's something physical to do. Gets me away from the computer.
That's also pretty risky.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like to take life lightly. You can ask my wife or anybody that knows me real well. If you're living gently, you're not really living. You got to take
love
some
that.
risk in your life. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
what are we doing? Right?
Yeah,
What keeps you up at night?
weird things.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the stuff that keeps me up at night is like I would wake up in the morning and everybody just decided that AI was going to do everything from being a judge, jury, and executioner all the way to driving my car. That's what scares me because I know what AI is under the hood, and letting AI have that much power over my life is definitely scary. So that, like the other night I had a dream of I was making software for legal systems, and I didn't even know they made this movie already, but the software did all the research and it pulled all the sources of all the case studies of this guy, and without, and I could prove that he was guilty without a reasonable doubt just because of all the cases that I was able to pull from all of time. But in reality, the guy didn't commit the crime. Like that's my fear, is letting AI have that much power. It should never get to that point.
Agree.
Yeah.
Amen. That's going to be the hardest part of the journey for everybody, I think, is governing that and not and realizing that if we give it too much power and autonomy, that could become a movie that we that we, that no one wants to actually deal with in reality. So I like to ask this album. I don't know if you're a music or a movie person, but if you're on an island and you can only bring 5 albums with you, what would they be?
That's my favorite question.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
One album that I can listen to nonstop is 40 Ounces to Freedom from Sublime.
Oh.
It's like when I was first learning music, it was the first forbidden CD that I wasn't allowed to listen to. And so if I listened to it and, I snuck it around in my backpack everywhere and,
I saw them in concert. It's a good show.
It is.
Yeah. It's a lot of energy.
I saw them at Warped Tour way, way, way a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, Sublime, good.
Sublime. And then a movie?
Or no, just 5 albums. Or
5 albums.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge.
Nice.
Good one. I obviously am an alternative fan.
I can see your pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that's not alternative. How about Selena? That whole.
Wow, that's shocking. Yeah, that's that's okay. It's your island, man. It's your island.
Yeah. I'd be rocking Bitty Bitty Bomb Bomb all day. You get bored enough.
You can only climb so many palm trees.
Yeah. What, 3 more? I have no clue.
2 more.
2 more?
Yeah. It's okay. You don't have to give it.
Green Day.
Oh, Green Day. Yeah. How about movies? What kind of movies you like?
Movies. Huge fan of Matrix, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Keanu Reeves, just in general.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a badass.
Terminator. Grew up on Terminator.
They
Star
have
Trek.
They have a documentary on the John Wick movies. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Amazing actor.
Yeah, he's so good. Yeah. All right. What advice do you have to, this will be interesting, cyber professionals just starting out, coming out of school that want to break into either cyber or healthcare or both?
My honest advice to them right now, especially because a lot of them are like, I can't find a job. AI is taking over jobs, or, why did I study computer science when AI could just write the code for me? My honest advice is learn how to use Claude, learn how to use Cursor, learn how to use the tools, because that's all they are, is tools. Those tools are not going to go and invent something for you. That's your job. And so if you're coming out of school and you're looking for a job, don't make your own job. Because that's the name of the game in the future. There's not going to be jobs in the traditional sense anymore. You're going to make your own jobs. And if you want something, you're going to make it. And it's not going to pop out of thin air. You're going to have to figure out how to do it. But at least you have more tools now than anybody ever has on Earth, ever. And so you can literally manifest something that nobody has ever seen before. And you're the only one that's been able to do it. How cool is that? Like the options are unlimited these days. And it doesn't even matter where you're from or who you are anymore. It used to, but the world has gotten really small now. So,
that's amazing. That was amazing. That's the best answer for that question so far. And I've done 200 episodes, Julian. So
yeah.
that was fantastic. No, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Don't sit there. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't like, oh, me, my. Don't like, build something. You have an opportunity to build something, learn something. Yeah, maybe you spent 4 years and you didn't learn how to do AI, but now you can do it, and now you can do it on your own. I love that.
Yeah. And the knowledge is free now. That's the other reason I wouldn't
go
to
college. Which is amazing. Exactly. I wonder what's going to happen to the whole university structure, because quite frankly, like you said, the knowledge is free. Why do I need to go to university? All I need to do is be able to ask. I need to be curious, which most kids are, right?
Yeah.
Lose curiosity when you become an adult. You got to keep that childlike mind, right? Otherwise, you lose it. And so, coming out of school at that age, you're so curious. Like, now's the time to press, double down on that and build your own thing.
Yeah, and this is like a huge, for instance, and it's, wouldn't it be cool if Call of Duty had this feature? Make your own Call of Duty. If that's what your passion is, then
that's right.
Oh, I don't like what Bethesda did yesterday. Well, make your own Bethesda. Nobody's stopping you.
I love it.
Yeah. Chris.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, anything else you'd like to add? This has been terrific. I really appreciate your time today.
No, that's I generally don't talk a whole lot, but
you did a good job.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Julian. Thanks for your time. This is Zed Gaudet from the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. If you're on the front lines protecting patient safety and delivering patient care, remember to stay vigilant, because risk never sleeps.